Subscribe to Feminism in India for your dose of intersectional feminist content and make sure to hit the bell icon to get all the latest updates.
Should we be able to have sex whenever we want? Is paid leave for sickness our right? Should we be allowed to terminate an unplanned pregnancy that we will have to carry to term? Do we have the right to make changes to our bodies to affirm our genders? Many times it seems like these questions, which should be about just us, end up being all of society's business. And in today's video of FII Explains, we're going to talk about the inherent right that people have over their bodies, access to healthcare, decision-making powers in regards to their sex and reproduction, and much, much more. This inherent right that we have over our bodies is also known as bodily autonomy. Specifically for women, non-binary people and trans people, this means that the decision-making power and autonomy we have over our physical self. Now this sounds like a fundamental right? But unfortunately, it's not always extended to everyone. But what exactly comes under the ambit of bodily autonomy? While this is in no way an exhaustive list, here are some broad examples that will help us understand this term a little better. Sexual and reproductive rights. This means the decision-making power that we have over our own reproductive processes. Now, a very simple example of this would be something like when we want to have children, how we want to have children, and if we want to have children. Now, this would also include our sexual health, which means that the right to be able to access affordable, trauma-informed, and culturally competent healthcare. Gender identity, sexuality, and sexual orientation. Many times it feels like the default is always seen as being cisgender and heterosexual, and this denies many people the right to be able to identify with the gender that they want and own up to their sexual identity. The right to be able to choose your own sexual partner or even whether or not you want to have sex without the fear of homophobia or criminalization then becomes a very important right. Gender affirmation and expression. The right for our bodies to be able to exist in public the way that we are most comfortable with without being subject to homophobic, transphobic, harassment, threats or violence. And not just to be able to exist in public the way that we want to, but also have this gender identity be recognized by the state and all the institutions with which we interact, which would also include healthcare that can aid us in our gender affirmation process. Our labor rights. The right to earn a living wage with equal pay without fear of discrimination. And not just any kind of work, but decent, dignified work that takes place in a safe and non-hazardous environment. The ability to take time off without fear of retaliation and also having ample paid sick leave. Freedom from all kinds of state violence, which includes no illegal detentions in prisons or immigration centers, no custodial violence, no sexual violence, no profiling, harassment, or surveillance by law enforcement authorities. Sounds pretty basic, right? We're not asking for much. Decent living and working conditions and decision-making powers. Nobody should have an issue with that. But unfortunately, the ground reality is quite different and frankly very alarming. We're going to take a look at this report by UNFPA on State of the World Population 2021 to dig deeper into this issue. Only 55% of women are fully empowered to make choices over healthcare, contraception, and the ability to say yes or no to sex. Only 71% of countries guarantee access to overall maternity care. Only 75% of countries legally ensure full equal access to contraception. Only about 56% of countries have laws and policies supporting comprehensive sexuality education. The report also documents that 20 countries or territories have marry your rapist laws. 43 countries have no legislation addressing the issue of marital rape, of which India is one. More than 30 countries restrict women's right to move around outside the home. Girls and boys with disabilities are nearly 3 times more likely to be subjected to sexual violence, with girls being at a far larger risk. It's 2021, but laws based on patriarchal ideologies continue to govern and suppress others. And we as citizens as well as nations really need to introspect on that. When we have full bodily autonomy, we're empowered to make decisions about our health and bodies without coercion or control by others. And not just that, we're also given the means to be able to carry out these decisions meaningfully. Bodily autonomy then is not just a fundamental right, but also the basis for which many other rights are built. What are some important examples of bodily autonomy that you can think of? Let us know in the comments below.